Hi, and welcome to the Law Simplified. I'm Shraveen Bandaranayaka. One of the pivotal or fundamental aspects that you will encounter the first time you do law, and something that you will see throughout your academic career as well as your professional one, is the amount of content, the amount of material that you'll have to cover, go through and understand throughout your course of study and work. Now, I've stressed on this and I've spoken about this ad nauseum, and I've also related the fact that what you study in your qualification, be it the LLB, the GDL, or even a master's program, will essentially be the same process that you will employ when you are working at a firm or on your own. You can check out some of those insights in a video that I did a few years ago called Should You Do Law? Which you can check out through the pop-up link that comes on the top right there, or through the links in the description below. But essentially, more than any other qualification that you might encounter, law in itself will require you to go through substantially more material because of this context, because of this aspect. Not only must you study and go through the material throughout your study, but in essence, you'll have to apply it when you're working as well. Now, as such, it might seem quite daunting, quite overwhelming in fact, going through all the material that's provided by your university, the case law and any other articles that are presented to you, even for that matter, when you think about the Acts of Parliament, the statutory provisions, any secondary pieces of legislation and so on. This notion that you have to go through so much in itself might make you feel frustrated, and you might think that there's too much of content and material to go through in the time span that you've been provided in your degree. So this is why, and I've stressed this on a number of occasions as well, it's quite important to summarize and to articulate what exactly is necessary for you in your qualification. Just because there is a number of material out there and just because there's a lot of content to go through does not mean that your examiner, or in terms of your career even, that you need A through Z. In fact, I've stressed this on a number of occasions. What's most important is how you think and your understanding of that material. Now, there are a number of techniques that you can employ to sort of make or summarize what is there in terms of these materials. One fundamental way that I have employed, and this is known by different names, a rose by any other name smells just as sweet, and hence most students tend to employ it as well, but what I like to call as spider graphs, something similar to the one that you see behind me over here. Now, a spider graph or a mind map in some contexts is something quite personal. What I've noticed is that many students employ mind maps or spider graphs in somewhat of an inaccurate way. Having taught students on my Udemy courses as well as through the one-on-one masterclasses, what I have understood is that they seem to want to have a shortcut to these mind maps or the spider graphs. Essentially, the premise is that if someone has created it or if it's out there, I might be able to refer to it and then learn the subject faster. The fact is, this is quite personal in the sense that in order to achieve this particular spider graph that I have made, as well as any mind map that you might have wanted to get across as well, there is a process that needs to be put in place. What I mean by that is you need to first go through the material at length, summarize that to a much more bite-sized infrastructure, so to speak, and then bring that down further and finally to summarize that final note, perhaps a two-sided A4, into a spider graph similar to one behind me. Now, doing so would mean that the way you have understood the subject is unique to you. So simply looking at some other spider graph might not make sense. Having said that, if you'd like to have a look at a complete set of spider graphs for almost every subject out there in law, make sure you check out some of the links in the description below. I have launched a brand new series of PDFs and booklets that outline for the major subjects in law, such as criminal law, contract, public law, and so on. But note, these are only supplementary. It's only for reference in the sense that yes, you could learn the subject through these spider graphs, but the idea is to look at them, assess and understand them, and then follow through and create your own. If you'd like me to go through a separate series on the creation and application of spider graphs, make sure you leave a comment below and I'll try to get that series out to you. But the very reason why I made this video in the first place is because I've started to notice how students tend to want to have shortcuts to law. Quite simply, that is not possible. Law is an expansive subject, and while your academic stages might be fast-tracked by using these shortcuts, it's going to come back and haunt you in your career. And a long-term career requires that you appreciate the law and the effort that you've put in to understanding it. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If it was helpful, make sure you give a thumbs up. Do subscribe to The Law Simplified. We are on the verge of a major milestone and I'd love for you to be a part of it as well. But until the next time that we meet, have fun, stay safe, and obey the law.